You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Legal expert tears apart Trump's extortion of blue states, based on an article by Nick Hilden. Trump's election blackmail is not policy, it's extortion. The power bout. The headline fact is simple: the White House is using federal homeland security money as leverage to force states into adopting Trump's election demands. That is where the power sits. Not with county clerks, not with voters, with an administration willing to turn terrorism preparedness into a hostage note. The reporting says states that refuse could lose more than $1 billion in DHS grants. Those funds are meant for disaster response, infrastructure protection, and counterterrorism. Trump's team is not casually reforming elections. It is weaponizing unrelated federal money to make states obey a federal political order the executive branch does not have constitutional authority to impose. The source of the damage. This is not confusion or administrative overreach. It is a deliberate decision. The administration has tied grants to election changes that include phasing out electronic voting systems, adopting hand-marked paper ballots, and running voter rolls through DHS's citizenship verification database. That is a coercive package, not a policy debate. A judge has already barred one attempt to force states into the SAVE system, finding that move violated at least 3 laws. The administration's response is not restraint. It is repetition. Same tactic, different grant language, same contempt for legal limits, wrapped in bureaucratic procedure. The misdirection gain. The rhetoric here is classic authoritarian laundering. The real action is the federal government pressuring states through money. The public-facing justification is election integrity. That phrase is doing a lot of dishonest work. The Times notes these policies track right-wing activist goals built on false conspiracy theories about voting machines and non-citizen voting in 2020. That matters. This is not a neutral technical correction to our broken system. It is the state absorbing propaganda and then enforcing it with federal funding. The lie becomes a grant condition. Gets hit. The immediate targets are populous states with large urban centers, especially those Trump despises for voting against him, like California and New York. That is not incidental. The pressure is aimed where the political resistance is strongest and where the fiscal damage can be felt. New York Governor Kathy Hochul called out the obvious: the administration is putting New Yorkers' lives at risk to forward its political agenda. That is the right frame. When federal homeland security money is used to punish political opponents, election policy is no longer the right description. It is partisan retaliation with public safety attached as collateral damage. What this reveals: this story is not about ballot format preferences or grant compliance. It shows how authoritarian politics works inside ordinary government machinery. First, fabricate suspicion about elections. Then translate that suspicion into administrative demands. Then tie those demands to funding that states cannot easily ignore. Finally, insist the whole thing is about security. That sequence is the pattern. Power creates a false problem, then uses the state to enforce the lie, then shifts the cost onto institutions that are supposed to protect the public. The damage is not just to election administration. It is to the basic idea that federal power has limits, and that those limits still matter when the president wants something badly enough. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article, with the automated voice of Norman. Thanks for listening.